Are you still holding that Griffey better than Bo Jackson?
No, come on.
Did he change your mind already?
It's just like the first Griffey is just better than any Bo Jackson.
What's up, everybody? It's Joe La Puma. You were watching the Complex Sneakers Podcast. As always, I'm joined by my two co-hosts. To my right, Mr. Matt Welty.
But you guys didn't clue me in on the memo today?
Oh, that memo.
I felt like you wore Nikes last episode. You're good for the year. To my left,
here I am,
Mr. Brendan Dunne.
Wearing Air Max 95s, as are you, Joe.
What do we got today?
Maybe I'm beating a dead horse here, but I feel like there's still a lot to discuss with respect to the Air Max 95, the big bubble pair, how they fit versus the other pairs, and just what's going on with that shoe right now. Also, I'm making an announcement. I'm excited to buy a pair of shoes this week. You know, just like the rest of us out here spending money on sneakers.
Is the bodega shutting down?
Damn. Hope not. We have a topic to get to. Highly debated that Deion Sanders may have kicked off recently on sneaker shopping.
Best signature sneaker lines of all time.
There's a lot to go through. As always, check out complex.com/shop. Get some sneakers, get some vinyl.
Some gear?
Yeah.
We're shooting this on April Fool's Day. We were going to prank you, Welty. Do you remember that?
No.
You don't remember like a few months ago on this podcast when we said that we were going to hide your shoes on April Fool's Day? We should do this as like a prank. I hope Welty never forgets. Welty's memory is so good, but we should return to this April 1st and record a video of where we tuck all his shoes away in a meeting room somewhere.
He wouldn't have reacted well to that.
People were worried you were going to go nuclear if we actually did it.
I think he wouldn't have reacted well to it.
No, I would have actually got angry.
I know him.
Hidden camera segment.
I feel like I know him enough where I could like push the limit. I'll throw some.
I think I would have actually got upset.
That's what I said. That's what I said.
But wouldn't that have been good TV? Wouldn't that have been good podcasting?
I feel like there'd be like an HR complaint.
I agree.
Total meltdown?
I agree. He wouldn't have liked that because I push the envelope with him sometimes. Also,
things start getting thrown around the office.
Yeah, I could see that.
Some insults at least.
A walk. He'd have to take a walk, but I keep saying it. I push the envelope with him, but then sometimes, I just let him know. It's just friendly banter. Last week, I gave him a bear hug after
We really might have to get HR involved.
No. Gave him a bear hug.
Have you done your latest training?
I have 60 days to do it. But listen, I gave him a bear hug, and he broke
the grip.
You know how much time this guy spends in the gym? You
Let
didn't
me
think
tell
he
you,
was going
I
to be able to
felt
break out of that?
No, I felt it. I was a little
He threw you
caught
off
guard.
like a Bulgarian bag.
Yeah, I have to watch
Tossed
what
you
I say.
aside like a couple
I was
plates.
saying I have to watch what I say because it snuck up on me a little bit. But yeah, that April Fool's joke wouldn't have went over well, which a lot of April Fool's jokes we've seen already not going over well.
The Red October Yeezy 2 is not coming back out. Michael Jordan didn't sign to Adidas. Ronnie Feig is not the creative director of Supreme.
Yeah, one funny thing I would say, I'm not naming anything, but there was, back in the day, there was an email suggestion around, it wasn't in April, someone who...
This is here at Complex?
Yeah, someone who definitely used to push the envelope, I'll tell you off camera, but someone made a suggestion, like, hey, I think we should start doing this, blah, 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 and the person just replied, hey, April Fool's was 3 months ago. Like, crazy response. Yeah, big week.
Joe, are you let down?
I'm not let down.
By what?
Those?
Oh, no, not the Air Max. Your ice cream flavor is not on the Kith Osaka menu.
Oh,
How much of a humbling is that?
No.
It's also, I think, some other locations in Japan, too.
Yeah, our guy Steven Smith. Not the designer Steven Smith, but just the old guy Steven Smith. Sorry, old guy. I don't know.
Should I put the call in?
Are you going to call Ronnie right now and say, put me back on the menu?
Should I put the call in?
You wondered recently here on this podcast whether or not you were on there. We had somebody in the field saying...
Did you translate to the international market?
Ronnie tried to FaceTime me yesterday. See?
Oh, he did?
Yeah. We're going to get the answer live on air here as to why Joe is not featured.
No, he might.
On the Kiss Treats menu.
He may be in a meeting. Who knows where he is now? We'll see if he calls back. Okay.
But you don't...
I didn't make the trip to Osaka. I couldn't go.
So you didn't go on the kit trip, so you got cut?
No, I don't think that's it. I think, I've said...
Your loyalty was tested?
Like I've said...
Kith loyalty program will test you.
No, like I've said in the past, maybe that's not my best market. we are seeing an uptick in Miami and the West Hollywood version.
This dude's looking at the P&L.
And the West Hollywood version of LA Kith.
Hey, just remember.
Not the new one in
lying
Malibu,
is a sin.
West Hollywood. So we'll see. We'll get to the bottom of it. But yeah, I'm not let down. You know, we're in a recession. Kith has no problem. But if the pack isn't moving, you got to cut it.
Yeah, okay.
You got to cut
fair
it.
enough.
Speaking of me wearing Nike last week, craziest coincidence someone sent me. So I was wearing the Spiridons, right? The DJ Screw shirt. Someone sent me a picture. It was like DJ Screw's first album. He was wearing Spiridons.
Whoa.
On the cover. I had no idea. That wasn't planned. Someone's like, hey, did you plan this out? And I was like, no, not at all.
Wow.
That's like a weird wrinkle in time. Like you implanted it into history backwards or something. I never would have known that. Fun bit of trivia.
Wow, that is. Big week because it's Air Max 95. Big bubble week.
Yeah, the Air Max 95. The Big Bubble Neon OG pair releases this week. How do you feel about them?
Well, one, I don't have a pair yet.
I do.
I know you do. I've seen some other pair. I don't have a pair yet, and maybe
This is a call to action.
Do you feel like someone fronted on you?
No one fronted on me. And listen, I don't deserve a pair early. I'm just like everyone else. But I had the thought, like, them being limited is getting on my nerves a little bit.
People are upset about that.
And I'm sure it's a little hypocritical because we are fortunate to get sneakers easier.
Yeah.
But I don't like chasing these around. I feel like these are ones where I would love to walk to Foot Locker and just get them.
Do you feel like Neon Air Max 95 should not be limited in general?
Yes.
It should be an easy shoe.
Yes. I'm talking about this shoe in general. And I know that over the past few weeks and past few months, we've dissected which ones.
Yeah.
Those I think should be readily available. Jumping through hoops a little bit, the other thing I would say is they have totally become my new daily drivers, the 2020 version. And keep me honest here. It's like, I know people always cared about Nike Air on the back versus Jumpman on the back. I think these are a little different because it's a technical tweak.
Yeah.
But from an aesthetic standpoint, is there really any difference?
For the Big Bubble?
I could see it from here.
You can?
I don't think there's that much of a change. This is not the change that we saw from the regular Air Max 1s to the Air Max 186 with the Big Bubble, the gigantic long one. To me, this is way subtler.
And I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the back, the caboose, the caboose is the one that's...
On the Air Max 95, the 2025 retro,
that's
the Big
more
Bubble.
noticeable.
Yeah,
is
I
that
think
true?
so.
Because the side...
Yeah.
Wait,
here, I'll pull them off. So this is the 2025 pair on my
must
feet.
Be nice.
On top here is the 2015 retro. This is a pair that I wear pretty regularly. And then Joe is getting on one knee to examine them. And then on bottom here, this is the 2025 retro, the Big Bubble. It does stick out. It does protrude a bit more. Yeah, but it's not that noticeable. And
not from the side either.
I will say there are changes.
It was on your foot a little bit from here.
You did?
There are changes that are a bit more noticeable. To me, the 2025 pair is more comfortable. A lot of people were tripping when I said, hey, I went true to size on these because I do feel like...
So what's your true to size?
I went a 10 in these and they feel fine. And I know the Air Max 95s usually feel tight in the toe. And
Which
I've
is
felt
a half
that way.
size down from your old size.
Right.
Okay.
Just confuse the people even more.
Yes.
On previous retros.
Oh, yeah,
but
that's true.
To me, this new version feels better. It's roomier. The toe is a bit bulkier. We got a friend who's a big Air Max 95 fan who was saying it feels a little bulbous almost in the toe. I will say also the clicking. Do you guys know this sound that happens with Air Max 95s? The clicking on bottom?
He makes up these sounds.
When you said that...
You don't know what I'm talking about?
No.
When I posted about that, people replied and they were like, I know full well what you mean.
Because he brings up sounds every new shoe. He's like, hey, they are clicking a little. They are dragging a little. I hear you.
Also, somebody mentioned to me, this is like a very nerdy detail, but this is what we're here for. John Migdalian, a longtime collector. If you look at the lowest gradient strip on here, you see how it runs all the way up to the toe box. Yeah. So there's some irregularity, but I think the OG pairs and previous retros, the lowest gradient strip actually like dips down to the 4-foot air bubble and then pops back up at the toe box. Are you laughing at me for being nerdy about shoes? Are you for real on this Complex Sneakers podcast?
No.
Why am I never allowed to be nerdy about shoes?
You were totally allowed and you were right. It's still funny though. Okay? You are 100% right. You are what people ask about. Having said that, get the pocket protector out.
Also, look at the stitching is a little more contrasty on the 2025 pair, a little bit more white popping off there. It's a good retro. I'm not going to say it's a great retro. but also like it doesn't feel hugely different from previous pairs. And I don't think it needs to.
Me either. Here's the thing. We were so hyped on this retro, correct?
Yes.
It's waned since.
What do you mean?
I don't think so.
Because you just was like, it's a cool retro. It's not.
I guess it's one of those ones where like.
I mean, I was on here saying I'm getting 10 pairs, I think.
But are you?
You know
No.
what? I'm really happy to own a pair. And I'm excited about them, and I'm excited to put them back in the rotation. But it kind of reminded me that like, even though this Air Max 95 Neon is one of the best shoes of all time, it's not one of the most special or precious ones that like you feel like it went away, and it just feels like it's always there. So am I articulating this right?
Yeah, totally. Is that a 2020 version?
This in my right hand is a 2015. This in my left hand here is a 2025.
But the shoe, even though it's always been there, it still hasn't been like rinsed. Where when it comes back out, it feels special. Like. What was it, a couple years ago when they brought back the silver 97s and people were like, wah,
that was a tough one.
Yeah.
That was a tough pill to swallow. But
good angle from the heel here. The rear bubble is bouncing.
Yeah,
big
it
old
is.
bang on them.
And the thing that I would say about these, two things that probably have been true forever, but what I'm like fully wrapped around.
Yeah.
I think the Air Max 95 Neon in 2025 is a shoe that you could wear basically any colors on top and totally mismatch.
Yeah.
And it works.
Okay.
That's what I love. That's why it's becoming like it's going to be a daily. I'm going to get one more pair.
I always say it's like a shoe, even though it doesn't match, you can wear a Yankees fitted with a pair of Neon 95s.
There we go.
Here's the other thing, real quick.
Okay, yes.
Are you precious at all with these?
Yeah, I'm going to be.
Oh, you are?
I
so
wasn't
I don't
with
think I'm
previous
going
pairs.
to be.
Yeah, you just beat them up?
Yes.
I feel like you wore yours quite often, though.
Yeah.
You ran in them.
Yeah, I ran in the new pair. That's right. It was funny. We were on this run. This is another one with Home Run NYC. Shout out to the guys in Brooklyn, where we suited up in a shoe that's not really meant for running in 2025. Not the whole group that was out there was wearing them, but I was wearing the 2025 Retro or the Air Max 95 Neon, and we ran.
Did you get it from them?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
We ran from the Supreme store on Bowery in the city to Graham Avenue in Brooklyn, and it was funny during the run. Some gentleman was walking along an avenue, and he's going, "Oh, Brendan Dunne!" This was before the shoes came out, 10 days before the shoes came out, and I stopped and I just to let him know what I had on feet, and he goes, "Oh, just like JLP, big JLP shoe." I'm like, "Big JLP shoe? I'm the one." Joe doesn't even have a pair yet. Joe hasn't even put his foot in this shoe.
Let him know.
But yeah, you stole my thunder there.
Did you feel like Homestar Runner with Home Run NYC?
Nice. One other thing I want to address on the new version of the Big Bubble Air Max 95, when I posted them, a lot of people asked how they compare to the Stash 95s on sizing, because people did feel like the Stash one was quite tight. To me, this is roomier. This feels better on foot.
So I like the Stash shoe just aesthetically, but just something about the shape of it just looked wonky.
I don't know if the materials shifted exactly how it felt on foot, because it isn't the typical Air Max 95 makeup, but I was surprised at how salient that feedback was when I mentioned it. One other note about this whole Air Max 95 rollout, I was talking to a retailer who felt like Nike hasn't done a good enough job of really getting the shoes on people's feet or celebrating it in this way that like the Air Max 95 or Air Max in general should be this huge marquee. This is your franchise. It's a top 3 Nike franchise ever. And if you read the reports about how Nike's revenue is down and Nike everything is down and other brands are surging, and you're not servicing a shoe as important as the Air Max 95 as you should be, and you're playing games where it's limited, where when Adidas wins on stuff like the Samba, they didn't play any of those games. They just flooded the market. So in the eyes of this retailer, how are you not trying to put the Air Max 95 on the feet of as many people as possible?
That's where I'm at with it.
That's how you feel?
The other thing I would say is you're basically talking about also like making it a moment or marketing it.
Yes.
To me, the marketing moment that it could have been, make it readily available.
Yeah.
Make it so that
you
I
think
think
that was a big miss on their behalf.
Do you?
There was not a lot of push around the Air Max 95. I think the moments have been cool. They did that Blue Room thing in Tokyo where they rolled them out early.
That was dope.
Yeah.
To me, it's not because of marketing.
What's missing then on the Air Max 95?
It's just like, just make it more readily available.
Okay.
But the 10,000 are going to fly.
Yes, for sure. For sure. And again, there's a long plan for the Air Max 95 throughout the year where there will be plenty more colorways, projects, collaborations, some we've heard about, some we haven't heard about, and it'll go into 26. So maybe it's just them trying to be slow and intentional, but it's still weird to me that they haven't been more vocal about it. And I do think there are cool Air Max 95 projects. Like I said, the Blue Room Tokyo early release was one,
that was
but
cool.
It's felt relatively quiet. Even like this shoe is releasing, I think, first on April 4th is when some of the neighborhood stores will have it. But like Air Max Day was last week on March 26th. and there was almost nothing around Air Max 95 and Air Max Day. And
There was really like no Air Max Day shoes.
yeah,
DN8.
yeah, but
I feel like
it wasn't that big of a push. And I'm on the record as saying, like, I don't care that much about Air Max Day, and we don't need more
We don't.
corporate holiday celebrations, but it is weird to see that come and go without Nike. And they have the shoe right there, and it's a week later. Like, why? How do you not just do some giant Air Max 95 neon celebration?
And especially for like Air Max Day, it was like the only shoe that dropped that seemed like a chase shoe or whatever, but I don't feel like it wasn't big enough to hold Air Max Day down, was that Apron Records Air Max 180.
You're still trying to figure out what the Apron Records is. There's another one. What is it? Pan Records or Pam Records? All these Air 180 collabs with.
It was one of those things where it was like,
ignorant.
and I know it is like a UK label that's like smaller and more niche in size, and it was like one of those things where I'm like, am I missing something here where this is really this like wildly popular thing within a subculture where it's like that, and people are like, yeah, it's a record label that some people know, but it's not like this massive thing. So I was like, all right, like I didn't miss it.
If you were a rapper in the early 2000s, what record label?
He was.
what label would you have liked to sign to?
Early 2000s, probably like Rhymesayers.
For sure, that's where he'd land.
And where do you think I would go?
G-Unit.
Oh, yes.
Shady Aftermath.
Yes.
Def Chooks.
I knew that. I knew that.
Welty knew that immediately.
Duck Down? Come on.
Yeah, plenty more to come from the Air Max 95. I kind of teased it on here a while ago, or maybe it was just last episode, about they should do a Yu-Gi-Oh pair. Of course, Sneaker News posted the scoop, but there is a Yu-Gi-Oh Air Max 95 collab coming.
Yep.
Super smart. Joey Wheeler had the Air Max muscle on in the manga and the anime.
But I feel like they should have done like, if they're going to do the 10,000 pair, there should have been like a tweak pair or something like that, or something that was just a little like OG.
So you mean do the OG Big Bubble Air Max 95 Neon 2025 Retro in limited numbers, 10,000 pairs, but then also do something close to it that's more readily available.
Yeah.
And some people have been casting aspersions or doubting the numbers. Look, if you have better sources than me, let me know.
I'd gotten a lot of feedback on that because they would posted that like, I did the Air Max 95 like video on Instagram the other week, and we said, it's dropping the beginning of the month, then drop next year, like we had said on the podcast, and people were like, that's not true. The big release is in 2 weeks after it, and I'm like, hey, look, I don't know.
Wait, were they down your boy?
Yeah,
whatever. They can doubt. That's fine.
Wouldn't be the first time, right?
I don't know. Sometimes the numbers are hard. Maybe we jumped out the window a little bit on the banned Jordan 1 numbers like a few months ago, but that 10,000 number was what Jordan Brand was communicating to every neighborhood retailer in the U.S. So if that's the case, again, if you got a better source than that, let me know.
By all means.
I'm going to buy some shoes this week.
Which?
Thursday, I have an alarm set. I have it on my calendar.
Let me think. Thursday.
I'm going to spend a good chunk of money on
What
a pair
brand?
of sneakers. $250.
New Balance Allerdale.
Wealthy knows.
Oh, the white one.
Yeah.
Good. We need you in those for spring, summer.
Yes,
we
right?
need you in those for spring,
I'm thinking
summer.
brown belt.
Oh,
I'm thinking
a linen shirt.
I'm not,
white linen.
You think?
Yeah.
Can I come to Miami with you?
You can. You absolutely can.
And you're on the menu there at Kith Treats?
Oh, I'd have
for
I
now.
think I am. I think I am. Yes.
I'm so excited for these New Balance Allerdales.
I know you're a little disappointed, Brendan, because the shoe is going to be released in suede at some point.
Oh, breaking my heart.
Yeah.
But also, we were on here talking about how much it just looks like a New Balance Mephisto, but you talked to Sam Pierce, who helped make the shoe happen, and he said it's actually based on an archival shoe, and it's not just a straight rip of a Mephisto.
New Balance 806, which is a brown leather walking shoe, and it looked exactly like that. So it's not a ripoff of Mephisto, but it might be a Mephisto killer. I don't know.
Oh.
Counterpoint.
Did you see the news about Bodega?
Yes.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
So,
it looked for a second there like Bodega was shutting down. They let go of almost all the staff. People have been laid off, fired, whatever you want to phrase it. People really thought that they were shutting down. I spoke to Jay Gordon, one of the co-founders of Bodega, and he said, look, that's not the plan. There are barely any people working here at this point, but our plan is to reopen. So the LA store was shut down when I spoke to him. The web store is shut down right now. Boston, the original location, shut down in January. His plan is to reopen and try as best he can to figure the business out. They got off track through third-party logistics and things that really bogged them down and incurred a lot of debt over the past few years, and the business was just getting off track. This is how he's presented it, and he wants to figure out a way to reopen things and keep the business going. It was kind of interesting how this news played out because I had seen the rumblings of it and seen people posting about leaving, and then I reached out to him to talk to him, and we were developing the story or trying, and then we saw an interview on Sneaker Freaker with him kind of breaking down what happened to the business. And it was very sympathetic toward his point of view on it, which, you know, he's a co-founder and he's entitled to that. But I felt like it was not quite fair enough to the people who lost their jobs and to the whole picture of what happened. And I think the guys at Soul Retriever actually had a good response that was a little bit more of a holistic picture of what the business meant and what might be the future of it. Not with a lot of interviews to back it up, but just a good take on what's happening with Bodega right now.
I think it's crazy because, like, I remember going to Bodega, like, not when they first opened, but like within the first year of them opening, because that was like,
I want to say 2006.
2006, yeah. Yep. And I think first time I had been there was either in 06 or 07, because I used to live in New Hampshire. My best friends went to college in the Boston area, was into sneakers, etc. And we would go to all these places like on like every 2 weeks or something like that. But it's crazy to me that they're especially shutting down the original location, not just from like a nostalgic point of view, but I feel like that was the whole business, or that was the
actual bodega.
Yeah, the whole store, like everything it was based off of was like going into that. Like everyone knew that bodega really wasn't a bodega, you know, and it was the
secret door.
Yeah.
So talking about nostalgia, Bodega was my first 50 words in Complex Magazine writing about it.
Really?
Yes, it was a little sidebar, a city guide of stores around the country, and Bodega was the blurb, that one of my first blurbs that I was tasked with. I believe it was, I could be wrong, but I think it was the M&M Obi Trice issue of Complex.
Okay.
And I remember having to write about Bodega, and I think my email at the time was products@complex.com, because I was just not Joe La Puma. I was just like calling in products, calling in samples, this and that. And I was like, hey, so we need photos of the store for the issue. And of course, they only sent the Bodega aspect because it was this big reveal that like
secret store. You go in, it looks like a corner store. What is it? You Snapple machine, and you press a button.
Yes,
I've actually never been.
You walk in front of it and it just opens up.
And then of course we filmed Robert Kraft for Sneaker Shopping there years later. But Bodega will definitely hold a lot of nostalgia, and wish them the best. Was in
the Wale Chillin' music video.
Of course.
With, Lady Gaga.
Yeah, some quotes from Jay from our conversation. He said, "We're not closing, we are scaling back enormously. We're shutting almost all corporate operations, keeping the LA store open after a brief shutdown, running all operations out of here to save money, hopefully start to get back on track." He said, in terms of what happened to the business, he said, "We had a lot of problems with fulfillment in our Boston operation and then with an outside company, and got into a situation where our debt payments were crippling." Jay said, "We are going to try to make things right with our customers, with our vendors, and with the legacy."
Well, I think that was like the biggest issue, is that a lot of people said the shipping times from Bodega just like sucked.
You know what? I haven't ordered anything from Bodega.
I did order a Stone Island jacket from there, and I think it took about like 2 weeks to get it. And you're just and you're like, hey, you're shipping it from, at least in my mind, you're shipping it from Boston to New Jersey. It shouldn't take that long.
Yeah, wishing them the best, and wishing the best for all the people who lost their jobs when this thing happened.
Yes, of course. One of the best store concepts, I think, for a sneaker store ever created.
Yeah.
I wish, I've only been to the LA one.
Oh, man, the Boston one. Yeah.
Legendary, obviously.
Should we get into our topic? Should we get into what we're wearing?
Yeah.
Should we get into anything? Should we get into something?
Yes, let's talk. Yes. Let's get into everything. That's what we do here every week.
Of course.
We already talked about it a bit, but I'm wearing the new Nike Air Max 95 Neon 2025 Retro. Big bubble, I guess, or kind of bigger bubble, but not gigantic bubble that doesn't look quite as honking as the original 1995 pairs, but still big enough unless you're super picky.
Absolutely. Doing the blue Cortez 95s. I feel like I don't bring these out as much as the green and the black and pink, but
not bad.
Yeah, love them.
Doing these after Joe, the Action Bronson New Balance 990 V6.
So good. The best colorway of the bunch.
I don't know. I don't know which one I like. I don't know which one I like more. When I first saw this one, I liked it more just like holding them side by side, but may like the other one on foot more.
The white leather one?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in the minority there because I like those better, but the net result is that guy knows how to make sneakers.
Still.
Yeah.
What are we talking about this week?
So it was interesting. A few weeks ago, we had Deion Sanders on Sneaker Shopping, and I asked him, where does he put his signature line against others? And it was like, Jordan's the only one that gets me out of there. And there was a lot of comments debating him.
Okay.
And then I think you guys were talking yesterday about kind of like the top tier signature
like these tier
lines.
lists. They're fun, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Welty was like, maybe we should just think about what the tiers are of Nike signature lines. And there's some blurry things here of like whether or not your name is attached to it, if it still counts, but maybe we can be kind of liberal with giving people credit. But just at first blush, Joe, what was the reaction from people when Dion said that he has the second best signature line after Jordan? Because we all know Air Jordan, Michael Jordan, #1, not close.
There was one that kept popping up as like, this person's line is better than Dion's. Do we know what it was?
Penny Hardaway.
Penny. People are saying Penny,
Penny.
right? And
Penny.
Didn't you
over
ask
and
Penny
over again
a similar question?
Yes. And
whether or not he felt like he was #2 to Jordan?
And I think he said he was.
Yeah?
I would have to check. I believe he said he was. But that was the most common response. Then there was a lot of Griffey. Then there was a lot of Bo Jackson.
Bo is above Griffey to me.
I don't know.
Look, the Air Max Griffey 1 is like maybe a top 20 Nike shoe of all time.
Yes.
I love that sneaker. I have a lot of nostalgia around that sneaker, even though baseball means nothing to me. But to me, Griffey's line isn't deep enough to really contend with the likes of... I just don't think there are enough
my
great
issue
Griffey
is
shoes.
that, and I'm probably going to get hate for this, I feel like Bo Jackson's line at this point in 2025 hasn't... It's not that the shoes look bad, but it hasn't really like kept up
as much as Griffey.
Yeah.
What? Bo Jackson?
Let me ask you guys something.
I think Bo Jackson
though.
has more juice than Griffey on retro footwear in 2025.
I don't know about that.
I don't think so
What?
at all.
I don't know. I think it's debatable.
I feel like you get hate for that. You're getting hate for that from me right now.
If the trainer, trainer SC versus the Griffey,
but also
I don't know, man.
Here's the thing.
Not even close.
Are we giving those shoes to Bo Jackson as signature shoes, even though his name isn't explicitly?
I think so.
Okay.
I have a question too. Say that the comparison is close, right? Like it's tough to debate and tough to pick. Do you go to who has the best shoe in the group?
Like the best single shoe.
Is that a tiebreaker?
It's tough though, because it's like you can have the best shoe, but then you can also have like 6 shoes that aren't as good, but they're all like pretty good.
That's how I feel with Bo Jackson over Griffey. Like, I don't think any one Bo Jackson shoe is better than Griffey's first shoe.
Yes.
But I think when you think of all of Bo Jackson's Nike shoes together, they're better than all of Griffey's Nike shoes together.
But that's where it gets tough to rate.
Because the fall off for Griffey is so big. Like,
no, but right now, and I know this is like, looking back at it in hindsight, but the Griffey 2 is a much more wearable shoe than everything else Bo Jackson did.
No way.
In this year, in 2025, if you were to drop a Griffey 2 versus any of the other Bo Jackson shoes, I feel like people would just care more about the Griffey.
You can't tell me that Griffey has a better Nike signature line than Bo Jackson. Auburn SC trainers.
I trust me, I get it.
So the Air Trainer 1, I'm not going to give that.
That's not his shoe.
I'm not going to give that to Bo Jackson.
Because also Andre Agassi wore that shoe too.
Yeah,
but John McEnroe wore that shoe.
Yeah.
I never liked this one really.
Joe's scrolling through.
I never really liked the Trainer 3 either.
But I feel like Griffey 2s with the full length Air Max bubble on it is a shoe that you would pull off.
Let me ask you this too. Are we accounting at all for the way that some of these lines have been ruined by unnecessary Nike sportswear hybrid versions years later, like Griffey's with big Air Max bubbles on them and all these
No.
let's not bastardized boat. No, we're just thinking the OG stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we doing tier list for the lines? Okay. Air Jordan is S tier.
S.
There's nothing else in the S tier.
You know what's crazy though? Air Jordan, like it is S tier because it's
no debating.
It's a singular example. But if you were to like break it down into like whether there's like non-S tier shoes in it, Jordan brand like quickly gets away from that.
It gets diluted, like the average.
Not quickly, but like at one point, the Jordan brand stopped being S tier.
Okay, but still.
Yes, it still is.
And it's in a tier of its own.
Yeah.
I don't think we should put anything else in that tier.
Remember the whole debate, like, and this is like 10 years ago, where it's like, can LeBron's line ever be like Jordan's? And the answer is no.
The answer is no. It was a fun conversation, but the answer is no. Do you agree with me that nothing else in the S tier, only Air Jordan?
Well,
you want to put Penny in S tier, don't you?
No, but what if
Jordan wore pennies?
I think yes, because people have had over 11 signature shoes. Let's just say the first 11. Okay. Athletes have had way more than that.
Yeah.
And still, Jordan is still the S tier.
Yes.
So I would agree with that. Okay. I was going to say, like, what
in a tier of its own.
What if Penny's career was longer? But
what if? A tier then. What's below Jordan on the next tier of Nike? We're just keeping it to Nike.
Penny.
Signature lines. Penny is in there.
Is Penny better than Dion?
Yes.
Okay, so the comments you guys
because you have the Foamposite.
If we're giving Penny the Foamposite,
which wasn't even Penny's shoe.
Right, but his logo's on it. It is
no, I know I'm saying, but
originally
wasn't even his sneaker.
I mean, in the Penny one, low key, I almost like the Penny one better than the Foamposite, which I know is crazy. But from personally, I had the little jersey what I always brought up, the little number.
You got Foamposite,
Youth XL,
like definite S tier shoe.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But then you have Penny 1, Penny 2, and then Penny 3, which are all really solid, like about as solid as signature basketball shoes as you're gonna get,
especially in a row, 1, 2, 3 like that.
Yeah, the Foamposite adds a lot of juice to it.
Penny 4. Nobody cares about that shoe. I'm sure someone out there is going to say, no, I care about the shoe. Penny 4, no one cares about it. And then the Penny 5 is like a retroactive signature shoe. Don't really count.
Yeah.
And then you have the half cent.
Kind of a fun shoe for its time.
Yeah, but I guess.
Okay.
But that run of 1 foam, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Better than
anyone else.
Better than Jordan?
No. But I'm saying besides Jordan, better than anyone else.
Okay, better than Kobe.
Yes,
we're just doing tier. We're not doing one by one, but like we're putting Kobe in A tier, right?
Yes, but if you're just talking Nike, Zoom Kobe 1, great shoe, right? Zoom Kobe 2, shoe. Zoom Kobe 3, not a great shoe.
Yeah,
and then you have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Nice
10.
run, great run, generational run,
but also all like the same shoe.
Well, not 9 and 10, right? Once we introduced Flyknit into the mix and we did the super tall booty stuff.
But even when you cut down that, I guess maybe 9 and 10 are a little different, but like it's not a knock saying that those shoes aren't like all the way up here.
Yeah.
But it's just weird because he's the one line that has like very little variance throughout.
You felt like that run, as good as it is, they all looked quite similar?
Yeah.
Okay. But we're still putting Kobe in A tier, right?
No, for sure.
Also, we have to say something about how many players are wearing Kobe's on court now.
Yes.
That is such a big deal.
Yes.
Like the functionality, if we're talking about functionality, it's like their go-to.
Yeah. And I think the Kobe sneakers have existed as retros, and this is a very recent development, but in a way that their contemporaries, LeBrons or KDs, haven't. I mean, they've done retro LeBrons and KDs, but they haven't meant nearly as much as retro Kobe's. And you have to give Kobe such an edge or such an advantage because of the way that we've seen recently that his shoes can be successful coming back and still mean something a decade after their release. And that's something that really Jordan did and Penny did, but people from the same 21st century of Nike basketball shoes, LeBron and KD, even a South Beach is not flying in the same way that a lot of these Kobe's are flying off shelves. So
okay, so Kobe A tier.
Yes.
Penny A tier.
Yes.
Griffey A tier.
I don't think so. I don't think it's just not deep enough.
It's a lot of people's favorites.
Air Griffey Max 1. I never get the order of the words right. Air Griffey Max 3.
Yeah.
That's an elite Nike shoe. I said it already, but I just don't think that his line has enough special shoes.
So it's B tier?
As like a line. Yeah, I'll put Griffey in the B tier.
So is Dion in B tier as well?
Ooh. Dion? B tier? DT Maxes? 96s?
There's going to be some hard decisions.
But Dion also has such a shorter signature run.
Yeah, I don't know how much we consider just the time they existed versus the post and the retro, but his relationship with Nike not being consistent over the years.
I don't think that matters. To me, that doesn't matter.
Okay.
Okay, that doesn't matter at all?
No.
Okay.
Again, though, Diamond Turfs versus the first Bo Jackson versus the first Griffey.
Well,
what are you taking?
Wow.
What are you taking?
We got DT Max 96 and the Diamond Turf. See, those are two really good shoes.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm going to say is like two shoes doesn't really feel like a signature line run.
That's what I was trying to say about Griffey.
Yeah.
Are you still holding that Griffey better than Bo Jackson?
No, come on.
Did he change your mind already?
It's just like the first Griffey is just better than any Bo Jackson.
Hold on, though. Let's also ask this.
Okay.
I feel like I do see more Griffeys still in 2025 compared to Bo Jackson's. It could be a release thing, but I do see.
For sure, the Griffey shoe, and I know it doesn't really matter as much when you talk about like the signature line, because the signature line should be attached to the player and the time that they were marketed by Nike and all that. But like the Griffey re-release is like 100 times bigger than Bo Jackson on the retro market.
Okay.
Like I know that they did. I know that they ended up doing like that Atlanta shoe for the Olympics, which was like that was cool. And it's no shots at it, but it's like that run of Griffey retros in the early 2010s.
Awesome.
Yes. So much bigger than Bo Jackson. Like to me, Bo Jackson just spoke more to like old heads who just really wanted the shoes back versus like younger kids rediscovered Bo Jackson and it became a thing with their generation too.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these are the athlete is so separate from the actual shoe.
Well, Bo Jackson to me was just like old heads who were still all about Bo Jackson.
Okay. What about somebody like Charles Barkley?
I got a lot of comments about Barkley too. A lot.
Really? Barkley going up against Deion?
Yes. I'm going to read some.
This is in response to Deion Sanders saying he's number 2 to Jordan in Nike signature lines.
First comment I'm reading right now, not the first comment, but only 2 kicks doesn't make a catalog. Okay.
They're saying that about Deion?
Yes.
Yeah. He's got more than 2 hits. But
okay. Someone said nothing's messing with the CB34. Someone also said Barkley in this order. Barkley, Griffey, AI.
Yeah, we're not putting this is only Nike.
What? Why? And Penny.
Because I feel like it just opens I'm keeping it to that because when I originally had formulated this, because there's just so many other like signature athletes. Like, are we gonna put Stan Smith on the list?
No, I mean that's one shoe.
Barkley definitely, Penny definitely. Okay. Deion was dope, and I'm happy he feels that way about himself. But come on, there have been a lot of hard hitters like Gary Payton, Jason Kidd, Charles Barkley, Pippen.
These are all good.
Sean Kemp.
But these are not the top.
But then we could also put Shaq on the list, and like there's just so many like.
Should we start back over and include non-Nike
I just thought
people?
Like just Nike.
Okay, easier to compare.
Yeah.
Wow, where do you put Shaq? Is Shaq A tier?
It's just no.
okay. Don't even go there. No. Okay, fine. So who exists in the A tier? Penny, Kobe.
Putting Deion.
Yes.
Deion is A tier?
I think so.
Even though it's not that deep? Joe is furrowing his brow right now. I think so. Yeah? Does LeBron go in the A tier?
Oh.
Are we putting LeBron James's Nike line in the B tier? I just feel like
I think
for
A-tier.
The past 10 models, it really hasn't been that interesting or exciting.
I feel like it's almost like
he has some bangers though in the early
it's
ones.
Like
absolutely
it's part of like the credit to him and also part of like, and it's not a discredit to him, but just the fact that the line has been going for so long.
Yeah,
but it's also
the
like,
same thing you say with the Jordans where it drags down the average.
Yeah, LeBron won, good shoe.
Yeah,
right.
LeBron 1 is awesome. Zoom generation.
Yeah.
LeBron 2, like kind of niche basketball guy shoe. LeBron 3, LeBron 4. The Foamposite one?
Yeah.
LeBron 5, no. LeBron 6, no.
7.
Then you have 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah.
The LeBron 8's great.
I know. I'm saying 7, 8, 9, 10.
Similar to what you said with Kobe of
all
like this run. I don't think those are all the same shoe. I think those look more materially distinct from each other than the Kobe's in that same.
They're pretty similar though. They're all kind of the same shape.
I mean, all shoes are kind of this.
No. These shoes are all like, if you were to put them in a line, they look very similar.
So what are you saying LeBron is B tier?
Can you recap A tier for me real quick?
A tier,
Kobe,
and Penny,
Deion question mark.
Deion over Charles Barkley?
Hold on.
Yes.
Deion over Bo and Griffey?
No.
You just said that?
I don't.
So where did Deion come in from that? Did I say
hard.
that?
Wow. I don't. Deion over Bo Jackson?
Putting a B in front of Deion, Griffey, and Bo sounds crazy to me, though.
But compared to this other stuff, Griffey's line is not as important as Kobe's line. That's fair to say. That's
Penny and Kobe feels right at A tier.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yes.
Not Bo Jackson.
No, that line doesn't like it was the marketing on that was like crazy back in the day, but I feel like the shoes themselves
and not Griffey. The issue is you're getting into B tier.
I feel like I need a whiteboard right now.
Yeah, I know. We definitely need a graphic or something. But B tier, I feel like we're being hard graders right now. Because
we should be critical.
Yes, but Bo and Griffey.
But these things aren't like the same. They should all be like the same if they're in the same tier. It shouldn't just be like, oh, but this line was really cool too, so it has to be this because I don't want to disrespect it and put it in a C tier.
What's in C tier?
Well, we haven't even.
That's the tough part.
So B tier, all right, Barkley.
Okay.
In my opinion, I know he has more than that, but you got 2 shoes, right? You got the CB94, right?
2 really impactful shoes.
You got CB94 to me, which is like, it's an awesome looking shoe. I don't think it's a shoe a lot of people would wear nowadays.
Okay.
So I feel like it gets knocked down a little bit, just in my personal opinion. And then you have the Godzilla, right? To me, those are like the 2 Barkley sneakers, right? I know there are other Barkley sneakers. People are like, oh, but these were cool too, right? But we're really talking about those 2. I feel like they're solid, but also I feel like neither of those shoes has like mattered that much in like a long time.
Here's an interesting one for you, Welty. Try and be unbiased here.
Okay.
Your hero, Andre Agassi.
No, that's an interesting one.
Because, and again, this is one where we're being generous and we're saying, even though his name wasn't on the shoes, the Nike Air Tech Challenge stuff, we're going to call those signature shoes, even though it's not the Agassi Tech Challenge or anything.
I feel like he had a stronger,
You can't put him in A tier.
Can't put him in A tier, but definite B tier. And not being biased, I just think that he has more than one shoe, right? But so you have Air Tech Challenge 2, Air Tech Challenge 3, the tennis ball shoe, Nike Air Flare.
You're calling all of those Andre Agassi signature shoes.
Yeah. And then you have like the Huarache Tech Challenge shoe. I just feel like he has a deeper catalog, and I feel like some of those shoes have like held up a little bit more than like a Bo Jackson.
Wdude, why do you keep trying to downgrade Bo Jackson?
What happened? What did he ever do to you?
I like Bo Jackson. I just, maybe it's just to me, it's like some people are going to be on here and be like, those are my favorite shoes. Like you're hating, whatever. I just feel like they haven't really held up in the sneaker space. Not that they like look awful or anything, but I just feel like the legacy behind them.
You feel like 2025 Bo Jackson trainers don't move you, don't move the culture.
I don't think so.
All right.
To me, it's like, and
but the nostalgia.
I am old head, but I feel like those are like real old head shoes.
Yeah, not your cup of tea is what you're saying.
There's nothing wrong with the sneakers. They're just like
you're being careful to not be on the record saying Bo Jackson.
No,
Nikes
it's like
bad.
The ads are cool and everything, but I just like, man, that's like a
Trainer
real
SC.
like. That's a real old head shoe, and it's not like in a bad way. I just feel like it doesn't like cross generationally appeal as much.
Cross training.
Yeah.
Joe, what do you think Bo Jackson and again, the tier list exercise does not need to compare every single one, but if you had to, which you do, this is an important exercise. Are you putting Andre Agassi Air Tech Challenge stuff over Bo Jackson Nike Air Trainer SC stuff?
Why not?
You're putting Bo Jackson over Andre Agassi?
Same tier.
Wow, this B tier is looking clogged up.
The SC Trainer High is a bigger shoe than the Air Tech Challenge?
No.
Deep in thought.
I don't know. I feel like
Jeopardy music.
I feel like more people wore Bo Jacksons.
I kind of agree with that.
I do. Even working at Finish Line early 2000s, tons. Air Tech Challenge is a classic, of course. I will say in the later 2000s, like Complex NCB era, Tech Challenge,
bigger shoe,
but in the early 2000s, I remember we always talk about the inventory.
Stock room at Finish Line?
Which store in Idaho has one pair of Bo Jacksons that we could get?
In Idaho.
Just because they weren't selling. But Bo Jackson, does anyone remember the brown leather one?
Not really.
Oh, so good. So I do think that more people wear Bo Jacksons.
When was the last time you saw someone wear a pair of Bo Jacksons?
Riding a train?
Yeah. You see them. Fresh sweats.
Mm.
Fresh sweats for sure.
Yeah, but you saw way more people wearing Agassi shoes.
I don't see the Tech Challenge that much in 2025.
I think our industry,
bubble,
like BDOT loves Tech Challenges. I think our industry, yes. I think
the commoners, the everyday,
clean sweats,
the layman, yeah.
Bo Jacksons.
Do we have too many people in the B tier now? Okay, so S tier is Air Jordan, Michael Jordan. A tier is Penny Hardaway and Kobe.
Yeah.
B tier, are we putting LeBron, Bo Jackson, Andre Agassi, and Dion all in the B tier? That's 4 in the B tier.
I think so.
Okay.
That's
so
fair.
KD is a C tier signature line.
Yeah. But then where's Charles Barkley?
Dude, Charles Barkley has to be B tier. Charles Barkley is up there.
Pippen only has one, you're saying?
Yeah.
One like great shoe.
I know like a lot of people be like the Pippen 2. It's like that shoe just never meant anything to me. And that's totally fine if it's like
Your personal favorite.
I just think like aesthetically.
Why aren't we talking about Iverson? It's not in a B tier?
I just feel like it opens a huge floodgate.
Welty's worried that the exercise becomes too difficult if we're talking about every signature.
Yeah, but does Iverson have multiple ones though?
Yeah, I would put Iverson A tier. I might put Shaq A tier.
Think about that. It's crazy that why aren't we doing that?
Because there's so many sports and so many athletes that have signature lines.
Just trying to narrow the aperture a little bit in order to not
another
have a
one that came up.
podcast.
Okay, so this is another one that came up. Grant Hill.
Yeah, but see, I don't like. I just feel like there's so many other. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know though because
I just
maybe the exercise is better if we were taking every brand and so that we only have the best of the best of the best.
You keep saying so many. What other ones besides Shaq and AI?
You said Shaq,
AI. What other ones?
Grant Hill, Stan Smith.
But Stan Smith only has one.
No, he does. He had multiple shoes.
Aren't they all the same, kind of?
Still, he has a signature line with multiple sneakers.
Okay, Welty, can I just ask you this? I'm not going to redo the whole exercise here, but if we are putting Shaq and AI in the mix on this tier list,
yes, where are they?
Where are you putting them?
I think AI is tough because he has like 2 like really good shoes, but he also has a lot of like not good shoes.
Duds.
Yeah.
A tier? And Shaq on the B tier?
I think so. It's just
we're putting AI up there with
Kobe and Penny.
It's just tough because we're not talking about like what's just their best signature shoe.
And
how does that
the
rank
body
up?
of work.
We're talking about the body of work, and I feel like Iverson has like a couple ones where you're like, okay, these are some of the most impactful shoes to the signature shoe line. But then some of the later Reebok stuff is like really bad.
Yeah. But again, we said the same thing about Jordan, and we're not.
Yeah, but I feel like
the
Iverson bad is on a way different level than like, okay, Jordan 18 bad.
Okay.
I'm going to look up more.
You saying more non-Nike ones that should be in the mix? I feel like there's not that many Adidas ones, right?
Everyone's saying Penny.
Kyrie? Where do we put Kyrie?
Kyrie's signature line really, I feel like, I wouldn't say like pushed the envelope, but like really moved it for Nike.
It mattered a lot. They were selling a lot of Kyrie sneakers.
Ooh, here's a good comparison. Would you put Kyrie above KD?
Yes. Right?
Really?
Wasn't Kyrie's shoe like so popular?
I mean, from a volume standpoint, I do believe Kyrie sold way more sneakers than KD for Nike, or maybe on a per model basis was killing.
Is like a bigger shoe than anything.
Especially when we're talking about our niche sneakerhead bubble.
Yeah, whatever you want to refer to it as.
This is harder than I thought it was.
Everyone's saying Penny Hardaway, and a lot of people are saying Bo Jackson.
Except for Matt Welty.
Penny definitely, and Ken Griffey Jr. maybe. The Bo Jackson, and a lot of Kobe's.
Welty, you were saying Jason Kidd?
Yes. Jason Kidd's, if you want to count, I don't know if they're like official signature shoes, you know, where he has the Jason Kidd, the Zoom Flight 5. It's the one with like the super like reflective bubble on the front of the shoe with the grippy tread on it.
I know you brought that one up, but that's not the best one.
Grippy.
But that's an awesome shoe.
It's very funny because we had this convo in the morning, and
we were prepping for this podcast.
But that's not the one that everyone goes to.
Zoom Flight 95.
Yes.
But I feel like both of those shoes back to back.
And again, you're giving that to him as a signature shoe?
I think so.
Okay.
Great shoe.
Yeah.
That was around the Penny era, and I wanted the pennies. And then I think I wouldn't say I settled for the Zoom Flight 95, but amazing shoe. It was like the second choice.
Yeah.
But is it a B tier line?
No.
Jason Kidd?
No, it's a C tier.
It's a C tier line.
Yeah.
What about all these younger athletes who haven't had the time to really prove themselves? Is it even worth putting them on this tier list? Like someone like Sabrina, who has kind of a perfect record so far when it comes to signature.
The trajectory could get her.
Yeah.
But I think it's too early.
Okay.
But also, don't you think it's tough to some degree where it's like, and this is no shots at all, but it's like you're looking at these earlier lines where not all of them, but most of them, it's like each iteration was like something new and fresh, where it's like the Sabrina 1 and 2, it's like not that much of a
little more iterative, a little bit
it's like
more.
You came up with the one shoe, and then the one shoe itself was kind of like a version of a Kobe.
Yeah.
And then it's another version of a Kobe where it feels like it doesn't stick out as much as
model to model.
Yeah, or there isn't this super unique like marketing spin behind it like we saw in the 90s where it's like you can almost envision all the ads for the
battling Godzilla
for the athletes.
Spike Lee.
But I feel like
here's a tiny puppet.
I feel like with current signature players, it feels like you envision the athlete before you envision the marketing on it.
Okay. I'm not mad at that take. I'm not sure how that affects their legacy, but I see what you mean.
It feels like Nike doesn't have the same like mythology behind the newer stuff as it created.
I mean, part of this is just also us being nostalgic and like
no,
the
for
old
sure, but
stuff
that's
is better.
But that's also why Bo Jackson, I feel like in a lot of people's minds, gets pumped up so high. It's because of like all the Bo Jackson ads,
the commercials.
If we're talking about Sabrina, though, to that point, the one thing I would mention though is like on court balances it out to me. Like maybe the mystique that you're talking about or the mark, but like
anything that it's missing, the on court,
but
visibility of that shoe makes up for it.
I still think the ads were like everything for Nike.
They were, but you could. But I don't play ball, but I know people who like are so particular.
Real ball knowers.
Yeah, exactly. So I know people who like get shoes by the fives.
What?
Five pairs of shoes.
5 pairs of shoes to like wear test and like play on court.
Wait, I don't totally understand.
They may get a KD. They may get the new KD. They may get the new Kobe's.
Yeah.
They may get the Sabrina. Maybe, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And so many times they're picking Sabrina. So maybe the marketing, isn't the same as those classic ads, but on court, and you also see in the NBA.
A championship in the shoe.
You also see in the NBA, not just what she's wearing, so many NBA players are wearing them. And I think that counts for...
It does count, but it's like, I just don't compare any of that to like, and now even backtracking on things I said, where it's like the picture of Bo Jackson in the friggin' football pads with the baseball bat. Like,
I know, but that's best marketing campaigns, not best shoes.
But that's what it's to
very hard to
me. That's what the signature line is to some extent. It's the sneakers
and
plus the marketing
around it,
plus the athlete plus the cultural relevance.
Yeah. How far down should this tier? Like, should we go down to D?
I think so. We should go all the way down
to F. Who are you putting at F?
Where are you putting Melo's signature line?
C or D?
So one thing I want to bring up, we got the Penny quote from Sneaker Shopping. I feel like my sneaker line is as good as anyone's. I respect Mike, that's my guy, but I'll put my sneakers up against anybody's sneakers.
That's what Penny Hardaway told you?
On Sneaker Shopping, yes.
Okay. A tier, well deserved.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a ton on this list that you put. Is there any that stand out?
Well, you said Pippen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pippin's like a C tier guy.
People are going to be mad. People who care about retro basketball shoes a lot more than any of us are going to be mad. And I know you love these shoes, but we're just comparing them relative to each other. We're not saying that there aren't amazing Nike Pippen sneakers and Scottie Pippen's shoes haven't meant something, and the people who design them aren't capable and have incredible portfolios. But I'm comparing them relative to the other people on this list. I'm fine with Pippen at a C tier. The overall pop culture relevance, the how much you see him outside, it's just not the same as some of these other.
So is Kyrie a C tier as well?
Dude, I guess, but like, it was so big, but maybe in a smaller window than some of these things, and won't ever have the retro life that a Bo Jackson or even a Kobe does, right? We're probably never seeing Kyrie sneakers again unless him and Phil Knight patch it up. So if this were 5 years ago, I feel like he had the momentum and
he had the juice.
Yeah. Who else? Who else is worth talking about?
Paul George, your guy?
A lot of people wore those too, but...
Too short. I can put Paul George on D tier.
D tier?
Yeah. But below Kyrie for sure.
Yeah. Well, is it on the same level as Melo?
Maybe I'll put Melo on C. Look, Team Jordans.
I'm biased to Melo, so don't ask me.
Were you abstaining yourself from like the podcast?
We're here to discuss. I'm not putting him in A tier.
Well, where are we putting Melo?
Welty, where are you putting Melo?
Be honest, it's a D tier shoe.
D tier the whole line?
Yes. He has like Melo 1.5s and like maybe Melo 10s.
Yeah. Always in the shadow of Michael Jordan.
But there aren't like any shoes where people are like, man, I wish those would get re-released.
For Melos, probably not. We'll have a couple commenters. We'll have a couple. The real ball knowers, I feel like they're going to have some issues with this, and they're going to have some models.
So where are you putting it?
Who?
Melo.
Let me think.
You're doing the 3 to the head.
C tier? I'd put Chris Paul's signature Jordan line above Melo's.
Ooh, that's a really interesting one. I want to know what the commenters think on that one.
I think the shoes just look better.
Yeah, I guess maybe this is me not doing my duty well enough, but I can't conjure in my head enough Chris Paul, or maybe that's just a reflection of...
Much more like a mid-cut.
Yeah.
I feel like when I worked at Foot Locker, we definitely sold a lot more CP3s. They always went on sale for like $79.99.
Of course.
But sold a lot more CP3s than you did Mellows.
Okay. Chris Paul over Melo. Chris Paul in C tier, though, or did we just put them both in D?
All jokes aside, I think those two are comparable.
Yeah, pretty close to each other. Is there any... is there just an absolute worst that we could put in the bottom tier? Like, who has the worst Nike signature line of all time?
Wow.
I'm not being political here. I really don't know.
Where you put Giannis's signature line?
Giannis is C, I guess. Like, just doesn't move me.
Pretty boring, right?
Like, what's the singular biggest Giannis shoe ever? That kind of says enough.
Then maybe it could be a D tier.
No, but
Jose brought up P-Rod.
P-Rod got a shoe, right?
Coming back as a retro.
Yeah. P-Rod won.
We've given some people credit for that.
He's got 10 signature shoes. I can only envision like one of them in my head.
What
tier are you putting Mr. Skateboarder himself? Real skate knower.
Flipped the table on you.
Yeah, kick flipped it.
Yep.
Bring up the clip.
It's either C or D.
Damn.
What is it supposed to be?
Listen,
I feel like it's probably a C tier, just the strength off of the first shoe.
I hope no athletes feel disrespectful.
I mean, we're getting to the list where everything's going to be D.
So we're putting all the rest of the stuff on D. John Morant?
It's too early.
Okay. Asia Wilson, too early.
She's 1 for 1.
D book.
Yep. 1 for 1.
0.5 for 1.
Is he 1
Didn't
for 1?
you say in the morning? D book? A lot of people wear D books on court.
Right? D book is fine. Too early. We'll put him on too
early. Yeah.
Kevin Garnett?
KG3s?
C.
You didn't like that shoe, Joe?
It was fine, yeah.
C tier. Right?
It also wasn't
Put it in a tier.
Foamposite.
I can't be the only person putting that in a tier. Ooh.
Foamposite 3 was really good.
I hope somebody in the comments comes up with one like really bad one that we're missing that's just like
bad signature or bad that we missed it?
No, bad Nike signature line that you could just say like that was the worst ever. Like what's like a really short one that just didn't stick around and nobody cared about and ended
Amari Stoudemire. He got Oh, that's easy one. To me, that's like that's like F tier.
Paul Pierce.
Oh, Paul Pierce signature shoes were only released in grade school sizes.
So that's a GS.
Yeah, GS tier.
Yeah.
Yeah, Amari Stoudemire definitely like
F tier?
Yeah.
Okay.
F tier. Come on.
Look at the shoes.
D tier.
I feel like those are that's the worst signature shoe run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we missing anything? Air Jordan S tier.
Yeah.
A tier is
Kobe
and Penny.
Yep.
B tier we're putting
Dion.
Bo Jackson. Griffey. AI.
Oh, if we're gonna put that in there.
Did we say that or no?
No.
No, we're keeping it Nike. LeBron.
Yep.
LeBron B tier, right?
And you said Agassi is B or C?
The Tech Challenge 2 is so good.
B.
The B is clogged up, but I think that's fine. And then C is everybody else who we mentioned.
Yeah.
Mostly. We might have to hand out a medal to whichever viewer or commenter can first create a graph that reflects everything we just said.
C tier, you got Pippen.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say Kyrie was C tier?
I did.
Yeah. KD, C tier.
That feels harsh. There were some great KD shoes.
But there's also a lot that like people didn't care about anymore.
Peanut butter and jelly steppers.
I feel like KD's a solid C tier.
Okay, you said it.
It's really the KD 4.
Yeah.
The KD 5 was like the high top that no one really cared about.
Yeah. 6, 7.
Yeah.
Okay, we could put KD in C tier.
All right.
Paul George.
C.
I'm still saying D.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you say?
Just didn't stick out.
A lot of college teams used it. I
just feel like it's not like the shoes were god awful, but
right?
It just doesn't do any of like the marketing or storytelling or any of that.
Yeah,
that we want it to.
Okay, I feel like we completed the exercise pretty well, other than like not doing a great job keeping exact track of where everything is. But I'm sure that our listeners...
a little bit of who's on first for sure.
I'm sure that people understood what we were trying to get at.
Yes. All right. Let us know in the comments.
Oh, this
is going to spark a lot of debate.
In the
Let us know.
I feel like I'm going to
Bo Jackson over Griffey. Agassi over.
Get a lot of hate on this one. But
I'm used to it. You're built for it.
I'm standing on Bo over Griffey.
All right, everyone. This has been the Complex Sneakers Show. Hope everyone has a good weekend. Please like, subscribe, comment. Let us know in the comments. We will see you in 2 weeks.